And the shift to digital has had an enormous impact, as you know, not only globally on organizations and socially and culturally, but also on individuals. As we started to synthesize, was really this understanding of curiosity and how important curiosity has been in enabling what we call, or driving, value in the digital age. Without it, we think you're lost. And why is that? Because in the digital age, we are faced with an infinite amount of knowledge online, but unless you know what to do with it, you can't create anything. And so we embarked on the journey of learning about curiosity and the value, and specifically curiosity as a value. And we've put that into a number of large organizations like Microsoft and Novartis and others, which we talk about in the book. And we wanted to reflect on those and get our learnings down. And out of that was born, and out of those conversations was born the Curious Advantage. We embarked on many conversations with lots of people, and we wanted to take a multidisciplinary approach. As I said, curiosity, and what we mean by curiosity, which I'll touch on in a moment, is really impacting organizations, culture, society, and individuals. And so we looked at things from an anthropological, a historical, a cultural, a behavioral, and a neuroscientific approach to try and understand all these different ways of seeing what curiosity is. And we learned a lot by doing that. We're starting to track the value that curiosity as a behavior, if you like, has on organizations. We've done it for innovation. We know there's a direct correlation between the amount of innovation in an organization and its value that's being driven. And now we're extending that to understand how curiosity, as it's defined, as behaviors within a system, can have a direct impact on value. This is something that gives power to individuals and gives power to people to enable them to be the best that they can be within a situation. And the reason is that because curiosity helps us navigate all the complexity we face in the current world. And you might say, what's different from that? Well, the biggest difference in organization has been the shift from the pyramid, if you know what I mean, the top-down organization, to this cloud of networked individuals, whether it's your lowest employee or your most senior board member. Everybody is connected equally, and everybody's connected to vast channels of information, vast channels of communication, and all of these connections disrupt the typical organization and culture and individual. And what are the skills sets that we need in this new world? We played a nice game saying, if we had to make up a new MBA curriculum, what would it be? Especially with the understanding of the digital age and curiosity. And we discovered that at the heart of it were a number of things we would teach our children. And some of these I'll talk about. We came up with a model, which is in the book, called Sailing the Seven Seas of Curiosity, because curiosity is about exploration and navigation. And these aren't meant to be some kind of mass-defining single system of curiosity. They simply, the groups of information that we found about curiosity and how you maximize curiosity in your own lives. These things included the context. How do we understand what the context is we're inhabiting? Is it an existing context, such as I want to be a jazz musician? So what is the context of jazz in that perspective? Or I want to be an artist. An artist typically works with making new contexts, things that don't exist. Or I want to learn a scientific skill. I might want to become a doctor, a particular doctor, and there's an entire context and language that needs to be explored. So too, becoming a member of a community. If I'm curious about anything, the best thing to do is to start finding out experts and finding out people who can guide you in and finding where to get the information. And it takes a community to enable you to do that. We talk about curation and editing, the ability to keep yourself open, find lots of information and focus it. Anybody who's written a book knows the value, and frankly, I love that process of kind of synthesizing things down as you get to the essence of what you're talking about. Same too with creativity. How do you keep things open, and how do you move through the world curiously and be creative and open to creative sources and different ways of thinking about things? We talk about construction. And construction for us is about learning by doing. The best way to learn anything, as you know, if you've got kids, is to encourage them to do something. The best way that we learn is by doing and making things and having a go, and learning as we go. And it's the same for curiosity, being in action. Criticality was my big aha moment when we were doing this research. We have a whole chapter on it. I realized that often when we explore things, we might just do things because we find it pleasurable. And yet, if I pursue a path of knowledge that is only about maximizing my pleasure, or only about maximizing things that I already believe, or only reinforcing my own beliefs, I learn nothing. And criticality is specifically related to things about unconscious bias. What kind of bias do I carry in myself from my legacy, my heritage, and my experience that might get in the way of my learning new things, meeting new people, and being open to new experiences? And being aware of unconscious bias is absolutely at the heart of being curious. The last one on our 7 C's model is that of confidence. And confidence, we found, another aha moment, is that the best learning is made through failure. As you know, anybody who wants to learn anything from a piece of music to climbing a rock mountain or a rock wall knows that you don't practice to be perfect. You practice to get over the failure. And rock climbers, for example, will climb a rock and fall deliberately for a meter and fall again because they need to be confident that if they're in the situation, they know how to get out of a difficult situation, or they know how to get over the fear of falling. And this is where confidence, it almost turns things on their head, because by learning about failure, you actually learn how to be successful. And so there's a direct relationship between curiosity and confidence. And this is our model, and we explore them, and they all work together, and they're all, multidimensional. And it's not a universal system, but it's certainly are the main categories we came up with. I have to say we had fun trying to name them all with, starting with C. And when we played that game, we suddenly realized we had 7 C's, which curiously played into our metaphor about sailing the 7 C's, navigation and exploration. In our book, we present the 7 C's. We present everything about curiosity, but I haven't told you what our definition of curiosity is. And our definition of curiosity is, we think it's about putting wonder into action. Wonder is defined as what if. By putting what if into action and being curious in an active way in the world, you actually enable yourself to thread through the labyrinth of all the information that we face in the digital age, and you enable us to be open, more constructive, and more linked to other people. And it gives a focus to a set of behaviors that enable us to be successful, more successful in our everyday lives, and more open to things that might make us uncomfortable. And it's a neurological fact that when we are learning, we get hormones that make us uncomfortable. It's the fight and flight thing you will know about. And it's that becoming used to that, being uncomfortable and being out of your comfort zone, and recognizing that allows you to be successfully curious in the world. I wanted to leave you with this wonderful statement by another author, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who did The Little Prince. And he said, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up the men to gather wood and divide the work and give them orders. Rather, instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. And that's a lot about, for me, what curiosity is. It's about understanding the big picture and being motivated by the emotion to learn everything that I need to learn to try and be the best version of myself I can.